What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Alex CFV, and today we have a very interesting topic. What is going to happen to the V series? Now, I could argue what people want to happen and what will probably happen are two different things, but in general, I feel like I just want to explore all eventualities and all of the issues that kind of with the format itself. Now, I need to just kind of preface this whole video by saying I actually enjoy V format. I think that it should stick around, and not to spoil what I think should happen at the ends, which I will kind of be revealing there. But I personally would like it to kind of stick around, and I feel like I just have to say that before I get into the rest of this video. But jumping right into the meat and potatoes of this all, honestly, we have to look at the BSF attendance. How low it was for last year was actually kind of scary. Some events were actually turned into singles events for V, which was actually pretty sad, and not a good look for the format. This is upsetting because I feel like a lot of players have to kind of choose between the standard format and V, which I think most of the team day events were on the same day as each other for those two formats. Premium was primarily, I believe, the next day, but I could be wrong. Correct me if I am, but I feel like that was just the general gist of it, which could also lead to that kind of lower attendance. Why not play like the premier, I guess, format of the card game you are playing? There are solutions to this, I think, and we'll get into that in just a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to point that out, that the attendance for it was low. But on the local level, we have to also examine, and I know this is a little bit harder to do, is V still popular? I think V is almost as popular as Premium, mainly in local scenes. I know that there are a lot of kind of regional tournaments that kind of focus on Premium a bit more, not so much on V in general, which I totally understand. That being said, I feel like the average player does still have a ton of V cards if you have been playing since the start of the V era, or any time kind of preceding the D series in general. Because Premium was at like an all-time low at that point. It's really seen a resurgence, at least here in America, over the past couple years with the D series. I feel like it's really tough to kind of talk about the upcoming BSF and BCS seasons with Shadowverse, and I feel like it has to be mentioned here. I don't think that Bushiroad should kind of take their game, their new game, and kind of lump it in with everything else, like Weiss, Vanguard, and the three different formats of Vanguard. This is pretty bad for Shadowverse and bad for Vanguard, and I have to kind of just go on about this just because I feel like it does affect what's going to happen to V. You can't have a new card game and then have it lumped in with the old ones at the same time and still expect to stand on the same pedestal as your competitors like Battle Spirit Saga, like Digimon, like One Piece, who all have like very healthy competitive scenes in my opinion. Bandai has separated out those regional events separate from each other. They don't associate the card games. While a lot of things are similar, obviously it's the same parent company, they're just treated a little bit differently, and I feel like if you want a game to kind of stand up on its own two legs, you can't just lump it in with one competitive weekend like we see. Vanguard already has a very few amount of competitive events, in all honesty. I feel like it's every other week I'm seeing, you know, One Piece results, Digimon results, and whatnot. Even for things like as small as like Dragon Ball Super, which might actually be, I don't think it's bigger than Vanguard, but it might be. I have no idea. But in general, when comparing to the major TCGs, Vanguard doesn't have a lot of just competitive regionals, things like that, high level kind of competition in general. Now, big shouts out to the community, you know, obviously Legacy Cup, obviously Crow's Nest, KSC hosts there, a big kind of case tournaments too, or, you know, where when a new set comes out, I don't know if they call it a case tournament, but a lot of grassroots kind of like community-led events are what kind of keeps the game alive outside of regionals and worlds. I don't think our game really deserves to have a format cut and an event kind of cut, just because people kind of perceive, or the way it's kind of like been handled has been so poor. I'm always for just more events in general, like more results is better. Just the ability to compete in this game, whether it be BRO, you know, BCS, BSF. I feel like there should just be a lot of regionals, a lot of things in general, where if you're trying to make your card game as popular as like the big three, you know, it's just a part of it. You're gonna have to do it. So cutting something away actually looks really, really bad. That being said, I think that we do have to just discuss the format in general, like the actual physical card game and what's really going on. The meta hasn't really quote-unquote shifted for a while now. Cards like Luard, Anj, to an extent Gurgit, but just a lot of these older cards have kind of maintained their chokehold on the format, and with no new support coming out, things haven't really changed. I do want to counter that in that I think that if the format was more developed, had more opportunity to play it out with the Enterana ban, which was absolutely necessary for this game in V, and do it in Premium now. But I think that it kind of opens the door a little bit more. You're going to say, oh no, Luar is just going to take it, you know, all these old decks are just going to take it. I don't think that's essentially true. If you allowed V to kind of pan out, and Luard, let's say, became the most dominant deck, you would see the resurgence of Chaos Breaker at this point. Marker spam gets countered hard by that. There's a couple different builds you can put it in. I think that it's just an inevitability, really, that would kind of happen in general, given some time to kind of let everything kind of flush out. Which is a big issue because we don't have that time. We haven't been given that time. We haven't been given like the proper support or just like the general like interest, I guess, from Bushiroad in the format, which is very unfortunate. While the marker idea is, you know, it's up for debate if it was a good idea in general or not. It's here to stay, I think. And the idea of products going forward should be to both support V and premium at the same time. I'm gonna pop up over here, hopefully, a poll that I put up a couple days ago where you guys voted. I basically asked, what's the future of V? What would you like to see? I gave you the option to support it yearly with its own dedicated product. I gave you the option to nuke it entirely, meaning get rid of the format, or C, support it once a year, or, you know, bi-yearly or something like that, meaning twice a year, not once every 2 years, just to support it with premium. This is actually a pretty viable option for a couple different reasons here. V is a very approachable format in general. It's not as complicated as premium. It's not as, I don't want to call D-Series brain dead, but there's more choice in your deck building that I feel like appeals to newer players a little bit more. The cards are also just cheaper. It is at this point I want to say almost the entry format if it was actually like played a little bit more maybe, but I still think it's very fun, and I think that newer players, they have more options when they hop into the game in a way than just selecting a ride line and the same pretty much 20 card pile or 16 card pile that you can slot in for the current D decks. Giving us a premium product that supported V would do two things. A, it's good for sellers because you're appealing to both sets of players who A, want the V product and also want the premium product, which we see the demand for premium product with History Collection on the around the corner. I mean, it's pretty high from like the hype and stuff that it's been getting. It's not out at the recording of this video, but I could just see it that it is going to be a pretty good product overall, and I think the 2022 the premium collection was also pretty well received. If players who aren't so much interested in V do end up picking up the product, that means there's more availability of V product if they're like dual supported, like I'm saying, for just the general player base. I feel like this design team has what it takes to kind of support both formats with one set. I feel like they've done a good job with D. I feel like they've done a pretty good job with premium also, and they've made the changes that they kind of are necessary. V, they've kind of dropped the ball with a little bit, but I think that they could get to a point where they can make it actually a pretty healthy format in general, and that's really what I want. The more Vanguard formats I have, like, the happier I am, honestly. Like, I have a collection, as you can see behind me. I have, can't even see, I have boxes, I have a whole thing filled with those, so I have so many cards, and at this point, it would be a shame to kind of just, like, get rid of, you know, one half of my collection at this point, just to nuke the format that, you know, you've attempted to solve, attempted to, like, kind of create and sell us on again, and the people who kind of bought into that, I feel very betrayed if the format just was nuked in general. Going forward though, beyond the product, what does that mean? Just like, why play V? Like, what could be the reason? What is like a solution to kind of make us play V? And I think it's a little bit complicated, and I don't know that I have all the logistics kind of panned out in my head, but this is what I've kind of like arrived at is maybe an okay solution. You would basically take V and its grassroots that it's already kind of become and essentially turn it into more of a player circuit on the Bushy Navi app. So if you've been to like the local shop challenge or whatever and they were using the Bushy Navi app, you see that like you can host tournaments just like Bandai and stuff like that. I think that it would be really great for organizers to kind of have like a mini regional kind of system, like store tournaments or store championships like Digimon or One Piece kind of have as well, but with even more stakes on the line. So I'm not saying get rid of shop challenges. What I'm saying is kind of create this system where you earn points by going to these, and if you earn enough points, you are entered into the singles tournament at one of these events. So this would free up some space and free up the player choice for players going into either BCS or BSF by saying, okay, the dedicated things for this day is standard, the dedicated Vanguard format for the next day is premium. But now you also have players who have been trying to go on the circuit regionally or whatever the case may be. Like every store, for example, in New York tri-state area should be linked up to New York, all the way up to like Vermont, Maine, or whatever it is. Shouts out to all the Vermont players. I actually met a couple last time. They were super cool, but those should all be linked up, for example, to the New York, Manhattan, or White Plains, BSF, BCS, and you should be able to get points from your basically store challenges over and over. Each store in the region or wherever it is can host just one, and based on how many you've hit, that basically allows you to kind of rack up points, and based on points, if you hit a certain threshold, you are then eligible to enter into a V Premium for the BSF or BCS kind of season. This would kind of help players decide, like, do they even want to invest in V at that point? Do they want to kind of play it? Because B, leading up to the event, it kind of gives them like a competitive space to be in. And then the next kind of, I guess, idea behind that is that it makes the decision for them. If they've committed that time to playing V Premium, I think that you're going to be okay with playing that at BCS. For everybody else, keep it the same it's been. If you enjoy Premium, go for it. If you enjoy Standard, go for that as well. I just think that there should be kind of more of a grassroots feel to V at this point. If you're not going to support it on the major stage, that I think they're going to get rid of it from the BCS, BSF kind of arena in general. Yeah, I think the format's going to go the way of the Buffalo in general, at least from the highest competitive standpoint, because we just haven't seen the attendance that the game really needs to kind of continue on. And I really think that like a regional circuit series, or just something that kind of earns you points, kind of like Pokemon and stuff like that, where you earn points to go to nationals and so on and so forth. And it could be at that local level where it's a little bit more casual, but still competitive enough to kind of drive players to do that, to maybe play the format if they're convinced enough, or just invest in enough in general. So I think that, cutting away V altogether will be a mistake. I think that there are ways to handle it. Maybe put it on that regional circuit, like I said, give it some like kind of side support from a premium product, and also just, maybe give it like just a little bit more love, attention, give it better ban lists, just new cards to come out to kind of level set, maybe power creep some defensive options that really help us take this format and bring it forward. So thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry about the little angle flip right here at the end. If you guys have watched this far in the video, I ask that maybe you do leave a like on the video, possibly consider subscribing to the channel, but I'm very interested to know what you guys are thinking. Do you like V? Do you not like V? Let me know down below what you think should happen. Let me know what you think too, like the regional circuit kind of idea. I know, there are shop challenges, things like that, but I'm talking about a point system where you come in first to fourth and you get a certain amount of points. We need a certain amount of points to go and attend like a regional event for the V Premium format, and it would kind of incentivize you to more or less go and do it. So giving you kind of like a competitive drive the whole way through, and the journey to getting there feels like your own mini worlds or whatever it is. So thank you guys so much. This is Alex from Alex CFV signing out.